Diane in Denmark here, and rah, rah, rah for the start of a new week. It's Monday, and as usual, you know, it's the second week of the month, which means that we're in Flylady Zone 2. Now, I'm making a question and answer video today, and this video will be the last thing that you see from me for a wee while, because it's the school holidays here in Denmark. My lovely DDH, my dear Danish husband, he's now off on holiday as well with us at home. Actually, I have to tell you something funny, because he's gone into Copenhagen, into the city today, to buy some clothes for himself. And when we go on summer holidays, on summer vacation, we always take a game with us. Now, I've mentioned this before. We always play the game Rummy Cup. And he said to me the other day, he was looking for some kind of new game for us to take with us. And he's found a game, and okay, hold on to your hats. It's called Swish, like. And I said, oh, and also he was saying, oh, swish and swipe, swish and swipe. So anyway, just to give you a laugh, hopefully he's coming home today with a Swish game for us to play. I think Swish is a bit like the set game. I've mentioned also that we love to play the game Set, and I think it's like a variation of Set. Anyway, just a wee laugh for you. So this will be the last video that I'm making for a wee while, but I want to do a little question answer session, and I've got my funky new hourglass timer. This is 15 minutes. You may have seen that I bought them in Sweden. I made a video last week in Sweden. This is 5 minutes and this is 15 minutes. So I'm going to start this one, and I've got some great questions which tie in really well with summer and routines. Let me see if I can put it there and we can kind of keep an eye on it. Okay, the sands are running. The first, okay, I've mentioned the Rummy Cup and the Swish. First question that I got, I think it was on Instagram. How did I have any ideas for getting a good night's sleep? Now, yes, I do. And remember, I'm not the oracle here. I used to be a Flylady Premium mentor, and I'm just hoping to help you with what has worked and what hasn't worked for me. A good night's sleep. Now, you have to ask yourself, what is the problem with you not sleeping? For me, it can be two things. It can either be because you've got an awful lot of brain fog going on, or too many ideas going around in your head, or it can be external noise. And I've got solutions for both of those. If you're finding that, you know, as soon as you go to bed, hopefully you're getting to bed at a decent hour, you know, you've got your little rituals going of, you know, taking off your makeup, putting on your pajamas, you know, getting to bed at a decent hour, taking a book with you, reading a book, you know, a cup of hot milk, whatever you like to do. I like to take a book and eat some chocolates in bed. If you're finding that as soon as you put your head on the pillow that, bam, all these ideas start coming, you may want to look into the Getting Things Done system. Now, I walked you through the whole of the Getting Things Done system. I have a playlist for it. I'll put the link up there. Or is it that side? Anyway, the link's up there somewhere. And I said to you that the Getting Things Done system works really well with the Flylady system. Getting Things Done system is taking all the thoughts that you have, whether it is, you know, packing for your vacation, or sending off tax papers, or speaking to your significant other about having repairs done to the house. There are lists where it's, you know, like this buzzword of, you know, the brain dump, where we're putting our ideas down on paper in a logical way so that you can deal with them when you are ready to deal with them, instead of having it buzzing around your head the whole time. So if you're finding that you can't get to sleep because you've got too many ideas going around in your head, check out the Getting Things Done system. I've also got a video about organising our thoughts. Again, I'll put a link to that. I know that was very helpful for many of you, so that we can just deal with these things in an orderly manner, instead of having it buzzing up here, you know, between our ears the whole time. Now, if you're not being able to sleep at night because of external noise, here's something that I mentioned on Instagram. It was one of my anti-procrastination tasks. I had been checking out these sleep masks. Now, I cannot sleep if there's like a tiny chink of light. Oh goodness, okay, I thought the time had gone, but I was looking at the 5-minute one. Okay, and you know, in Denmark we have these really long summer days, which means that it doesn't get dark until 11:30, quarter to 12 in the evening, and it's light by 3:30 in the morning. Ask me how I know this, because my son came home from the Roskilde Music Festival on Sunday morning, and my husband went to pick him up from the station, and you know, I was there, you know, to give him hot chocolate and a warm welcome home, and it was 3:30, and I was actually sitting outside. It was very warm. 3:30 in the morning. It was already light. Anyway, I can't sleep if there's kind of any kind of light, and also I can't sleep if my husband is snoring or if there's noise outside. I found this great thing on, and don't ask me about the brand, because you know I don't do affiliate links and all that, but it's a sleep mask with built-in headphones, and I had bought it, you know, because we're going to be going to Japan and going on the long trip, and it's something that I would have loved to have had when I was away with my besties in Nice, because if you saw the video in Nice, we were in this fabulous apartment right on the, what was the name of the square? It's right in the centre of Nice. But, you know, the church bells were going at 7 in the morning, and the cafes were pulling out their chairs at 6 o'clock in the morning. And if I hear anything, I can't get back to sleep. So this has been great, and it's really soft, and it's dark, and I can listen to, you know, I've made up this playlist of thunder, you know, and rainforest. I love those kind of. So it's really good also when I quite often have a little afternoon siesta, and if there's noise going outside, you know, because lots of people are having works done and construction going on, this has been a godsend. So anyway, if you can't get sleep because of noise, maybe worth looking into one of those. Add it to your wish list for your birthday or your Christmas. Right, on to the next one. Oh yeah. Okay, this is one that comes up all the time, and I think it was somebody wrote a comment on YouTube. I should have written down the name. Anyway, it was a very nice lady, and I think it was her sister. They were both doing Flylady, getting on really well with, you know, routines and decluttering. But, and here we go, you've heard this one before. How should they go about decluttering other people's stuff, like their husband's stuff or their kids' stuff? And I want to say to you, please, please do not declutter somebody else's stuff. I'll give you tips on how you can help them to declutter their stuff along with them, but never ever throw out somebody else's stuff, because you may think, oh, you know, that they're not going to use that, or they've got too many of those things. But how would you feel if somebody came and, say for example, you have lots of books, because I know a lot of you love your books. And if somebody came along and said, well, you're not reading these, or you've read these before, so out they go, you wouldn't like that. So please don't start decluttering other people's stuff. You've also got to think about, you know, if you're suddenly onto this Flylady thing, or minimalism and downsizing, deal with your stuff first, because if you've been living in that kind of messy way and hanging on to things, the family are not going to get on board with it. They're going to say, well, mum gets to keep all her stuff. Why do I have to throw out mine? So start with yourself. And also, it's really good to kind of maybe take photos of your house, because how much of that stuff is yours? I mean, really, is there space for your husband? Does he even can you see that your husband is living in that place? You know, is it all your knickknacks and trinkets and, you know, white cushions and all your knickknacks? So start with yourself first. If you're really, you know, on board with it, and you've decluttered your stuff and you're in good routines, you can help the others to declutter those. Now, husbands, I would leave them to do their own stuff. You know, he's a grown-up, let him do his own thing. You may want to make sure that he has an area where he can have his stuff, instead of you kind of taking over the whole apartment or the whole house. With kids, I think I've mentioned this before. I'll see if I can find a specific video. The timer is going to be your best ally. Get a timer and say to the kids, okay, we're just going to look through you know, one box of toys or one shelf of books, and when the timer goes off, you get to stop. Do not go into that thing of saying, okay, now we're going to take apart the whole kid's bedroom and do it all in one day. It doesn't work that way. You've got to build up good habits. And I've actually taught my kids really well, because, you know, my D16, my daughter, she declutters all the time. And, you know, in the past I might say, oh, but, you know, Granny bought you that or stuff. And I've learned just not to say anything. If she doesn't want to have it in her room, she doesn't want to have it in her room. And I'm not the one to decide what she likes or her preferences. But what was really helpful for her, and I've mentioned this one before, is when she was small, she had this huge collection of plushies, you know, all those kind of soft toys. And the dogs, you know, dog in, dog out, those were her favourite things, all of the dogs. But all of the other things, she could see she wasn't playing with them. And, you know, she made a choice of which ones she loved best and, you know, were to be on her bed. And the other ones, we put them in boxes. And I took her with me to the charity shop, you know, the thrift store, the local thrift store. And that totally changed things for her, because she came to the shop with me, and the ladies in that shop, they're always so nice and, oh gosh, thanks for your donations. And the ladies in the charity shop were, oh gosh, what lovely things you have, and are you sure that you want to give these away? And the thing that stuck with them, oh, hold on a wee minute, sorry. Gosh, sorry about that. It was actually quite an important phone call. Anyway, where did I get to? Yeah, the ladies in the charity shop, they saw the stuff and said, oh, what lovely toys, and it was so nice of her to bring them in. And did she realise that each of these toys might become some other child's favourite toy? And that really put the light on for her that, you know, maybe this, you know, cat or elephant or whatever it was, she hadn't been playing with it, and yet that could be somebody else's favourite toy, like her doggy was to her, that, you know, she took it everywhere. So that was a very big moment for her. And after that, you know, every time we did, you know, decluttering of books, she would say, oh no, those are for the babies, you know, those are too young for me, and somebody else will like that. And oh, and this one's really nice, and, you know, maybe a little boy would like this. So that's and if you can involve them with, you know, actually taking stuff to the charity shop, that is a great way to let them see what it is. Anyway, that covers that. And also on the question of decluttering, I made a little video last week, remember the 5-minute video where I decluttered? And I decluttered, remember those decanters, the glass decanters? And so many of you said, oh, you should do this with them, you should do that with them. Here we go. You cannot tell me what I should keep or not keep. And this is, again, we need to get out of this mindset of you should hold on to it, because those decanters don't suit my style. They don't suit my preferences, and right now I'm feeling like I'm feeling lighter and lighter the more that I get rid of things that I'm not loving or using. I'm passing on to somebody else. And those decanters, they're going to 2 of my friends, and they will look fantastic in my friend's house, and they will be used and admired and loved. They weren't being used, admired and loved in my house. They were at the back of that, of the cabinet. So just be careful, you know, when you're talking to, you know, your family or your husband or a friend, oh, you should hold on to that. If you want to hold on to it, if you're going to use it and love it, that's fine, but don't make somebody else hold on to things that they don't want to hold on to. And that also brings me around to, you've got to enjoy the things that you have here and now, and then, you know, we can move on to something else. And here's a case in point. If you saw on Instagram, we've had a fantastic batch of cherries this year. Okay, I know the time has gone there, but I had to speak on the telephone, so I'm going to go for another 5 minutes. There we go. And we've had a fantastic batch of cherries this year, and you've seen them from going from like this colour, they were this colour in the beginning, and this is the last of the cherries. And this is it, this is the last of it, and I appreciate when it's there, but everything has its season. And if you've got stuff that you've just had lying around forever just because, let's try and, you know, pass it on to somebody else who can use it. I mean, you've seen it with the clothes swap parties. We're always kind of looking at what we've got. Well, yeah, we enjoyed wearing that maybe when we were, you know, 10 years younger, a different size, different style. Let's kind of, you know, move on with things. So we're going to enjoy that. That's the cherries. I'm going to be giving some to the neighbours, and that will be the end of that. And one last thing, because I will try and make it short now. This is my last video for a while, because I said, you know, we're going to be away on vacation. Keep going with your routines. I'm not going to be here, you know, cheerleading you through and reminding you, but something, when my daughter finished school, you know, she's finished kind of like junior school and she's moving on to high school in end of August. And her teacher, her class teacher from, you know, the junior school, he gave them a really good talk on the last day of school, and I was all, you know, I get very emotional about these things. And he mentioned to them, think about, and which has brought me back to the routines thing. He mentioned something that, you know, they were going to be faced with many choices, you know, from now on going into their kind of adult lives and making choices. You know, obviously try and make good choices, you know, weigh things up, and remember that your choices affect not just you, but the people around you. And that was really very powerful for me. Remember that your choices of whether you choose to do your routines or not to do your routines affects you, but it also affects your mood, how you react to the family, how you react with your colleagues, your co-workers. So if you need some motivation to keep going with your routines, you know, if you're not doing it just for you, think about you are also doing it for everybody who comes into contact with you. So anyway, I'm not going to philosophize anymore. I need to get packing, and I'm hoping that my husband will come back with the Swish game. If he comes back with the Swish game, I'll put it on Instagram, because I'm really looking forward to seeing that, and we'll be making all the swish and swipe jokes, and I'll swipe your card. Anyway, have a great couple of weeks. I hope the sunshine will be with you. We're actually quite dull today in Copenhagen, which has been a relief. It was actually quite cold when Vibeke and I went for a swim this morning, and that's why the back of my hair is got really wet, because we swim out to the boys in the summer. And anyway, I'm getting my hair cut on Thursday, so I'll be all ready from holidays. Anyway, as usual, live long and prosper. Have a fantastic day. Keep going with those routines. I will be checking in with you on Instagram, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Okay, bye for now.